Hello, this is Dr. Brooke Goldner from Goodbye Lupus, and I just heard terrible news that Snoop Dogg, the musician, entrepreneur, his daughter, Cori, just had a terrible stroke. And I wanted to first just send my love to their family. I know how terrifying it is to be sick and also to be terrified for a loved one. And I want to send my love out to the family. And I also know, since people are talking about this could be a really good time to help people understand why she may have had a stroke, and maybe it can help protect you or even help the family as well. So at 24 years old, why would somebody have a stroke? Strokes are on the rise in younger people. She's 24 years old, and it used to be strokes were more in older people. But over the past few decades, studies have shown that strokes in younger people, even 18 and up, have gone up 40%. So heart disease and strokes are up in younger people. But there's another risk factor at play here. Cori has shared on social media that she was diagnosed with lupus at 6 years old. Now, lupus is an autoimmune disease that can attack any organ. Lupus itself raises your risk of heart disease. A lot of people with lupus, majority, actually still die from heart attacks and heart disease over even the attack on their organs from the disease itself, like kidneys, brain, other areas. So lupus itself can raise your risk of heart disease, as well as other risk factors like obesity, for example. And also lupus can raise your risk of blood clots through an antibody called antiphospholipid antibody. So I myself, if you know me, I myself had lupus for 12 years of my life. I was diagnosed at 16, which they said was young back then, but I'm a child of the 70s. Nowadays, people are getting sick younger and younger. So she was sick since 6 years old. But I was diagnosed at 16. And at 16, I already had arthritis, I had rashes, and I was diagnosed with kidney failure. It took 2 years of extreme chemotherapy, high-dose steroids, many other medicines, halting my puberty, everything they could do to save my life. And thankfully, they did. Now, with medication, I was able to become stabilized, and I was able to finish high school, finish college, and even go to medical school. But I was sick. I took a lot of medication, and I still had arthritis. I still had rashes. I still would get migraines and all sorts of issues, but I learned how to push through, and I never stopped going after my dream of becoming a doctor. In medical school, because of the stress and poor sleep and everything else, I got sick with antiphospholipid antibody syndrome, and I had a series of mini strokes, which they're called transient ischemic attacks, TIA, but people tend to know them as mini strokes, which means that I was getting blood clots going into my brain, but thankfully, the clots were small enough to pass through without causing permanent damage. When there is permanent damage, when it's a larger clot, they will just call it a stroke. And so that's what Cori has said on social media that she experienced was a major stroke. And that is a terrifying thing. Now, what we also know, just because of social media and what she shared in the past, is that she said in September of 2023 that she had stopped taking all of her medicines for lupus and was instead looking for natural methods. And she mentioned really just herbs and teas and things like that. So it may be that because her lupus was untreated, that she continued to develop other risk factors and even new antibodies, which tends to happen with lupus. And that led to the stroke that she had. So what I would say that's a very important thing is that if you are currently very sick with lupus, you may need medical help to preserve your health. I would have died 30 years ago at 16. Actually, it's almost 31 now, but I would have died 30 years ago at 16 from lupus and kidney failure if it wasn't for medicine. The medicines were excruciating. 2 years of chemotherapy and high-dose steroids and all that it took to save my kidneys was excruciating. And even after I got off of the chemotherapy and I was stable, I always had protein in my urine. I still had all these symptoms, but because of medication, I was able to function well enough to survive. And even when I got the blood clots in medical school, then they gave me blood thinners. And they said, take this every day or you'll die of a stroke. So medicines can be life-saving in lupus. And it's very important if you are currently ill that you use whatever resources you have. And so if you are on something that's working for you, great. If not, you need to get more help because lupus is life-threatening. And I know better than most how scary and life-threatening it can be. And that's why I feel so much for what Cori's going through right now. So it is important that you do get medical help if you need it. And there are other things you can do. So the reason I'm known as Goodbye Lupus is because it has been 18 years that I've been lupus free. So I had lupus for 12 years of my life with all the symptoms I already described. And when I changed my diet 18 years ago to what's now known as a Goodbye Lupus protocol, I became symptom-free and my labs went back to normal. So my kidneys went to normal, the proteinuria went away, and the anti-cardiolipin antibodies, which were my anti-phospholipid antibodies, disappeared. And I am symptom-free for 18 years with normal labs. I'm off meds for 17 years. Why? Because I was terrified of stopping the blood thinners, because I didn't want to have a stroke. Strokes could have ended my life. And so because I was so scared of stroke, I kept taking those blood thinners until I'd proven it to myself for a year that I did not have a relapse of any of those antibodies, and even kept checking labs after that, because I would rather take medication than have a stroke, right? Because that could end everything for me. So only carefully did I come off meds after I had changed my diet. And thankfully, my life has been good since then. I've had 18 years symptom-free, 18 years of normal labs. I was able to have 2 children without having any complications or relapse. I have never had a relapse. And that's why I give back the way I do. I have released my protocol to the public for free. It is in my books, my book, Goodbye Lupus, Goodbye Autoimmune Disease, my new recipe book. All of those are on Amazon, and they've all been bestsellers. But I do my best to share with the public for free. And so if you're just hearing this for the first time, please go ahead and click my link tree. If you're on Instagram, it's in my profile. If you're on Facebook, it's learn more. If you're on YouTube, it's a link up below. My link tree has all the links to everything that I teach for free, my free support group on Facebook, everything. And every single Wednesday, unless there's some holiday or something, I come on live to give people free coaching and support on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, because I'm determined to help other people get their health back. I don't want you to be sick. I don't want you to be scared. I don't want you to make the wrong choices either. I wish there was some special herb that got rid of lupus. If there was, it'd be a lot easier than trying to make people eat all their vegetables and eat on the plan that I have. But the plan that I teach works. Thousands of people around the world have now gotten healthy because of it. I hope you're one of them. If not, pass it on. And I hope the best to Snoop Dogg's family, to Cori, and to all of you who are currently sick or you love someone who's sick. I hope all of you do what it takes to get better and get all the help that you need. This is Dr. Goldner. I'll see you next time.